And now we move forward to the e-store, and I will invite on the stage Thomas from VD Market, and we will start to talk about what are the practical tips how to successfully export with your e-store. Please come on the stage is yours.
All good. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas. I'm from VD Market, and today I'm going to show you how to be more successful internationally with your e-commerce site. So picture a situation. You already have an e-commerce site. You're quite successful locally, but your ambition is bigger. You want to go abroad internationally to bigger markets, to richer markets. And you're like, all right, let's go abroad. And usually what's the plan? The plan is, let's run ads, and let's add a new domain and a new language, the standard. And they are correct and wrong. And my main goal today is to show you how to save as much money as possible before launching ads, because not doing the right things will end up costing much more than doing what needs to be done. All right, let's start with the basics, languages. So when you go abroad, you're thinking, all right, we need those international languages. And here you can see a table, usually what's the common approach and what's the best approach. I'll use more Baltics market because I believe the biggest part of the audience is from Baltics. So a company, for example, comes to us, they're like, hey, we need to go internationally, we need a site for those markets. And we want to sell Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. And then you ask this question, what languages you will use? And the common practice is we will use, of course, our own language because we sell in our own market, and let's do English and Russian. And they are not wrong. Those languages are needed because we have those people who speak also different languages. But I don't hear Estonian or Lithuanian, because to be successful in e-commerce internationally, you have to look as local as possible, right? We are not speaking about huge global brands, right, who have millions and millions of customers. They don't have to look local, right? But I believe you are still in the stage where you want to enter that new market. You need to look as local as possible. So that's why if you go to Lithuania, hey, you have to have Lithuanian language. If you go to Estonia, you have to have this Estonian language. And of course, if you go to the markets which have different currencies, like Sweden, where you use Swedish krona, where you go to Norway, where you have Norwegian krona, or UK, where you have Great Britain pounds, you have to have them. All right, that part we figure out. We have the correct languages to go and the correct currencies. But the next question is, does your customer, when they enter the page, do they have to change the language and the currency manually? So let's picture this case. You launch ads to your e-commerce site, they enter. For example, you make ads for a Swedish market. They enter and everything is in English. Although you have these other languages, for example, Swedish one, but they have to go manually in the navigation bar, change the language, and change manually the currency. It's bad practice. That's why where geo-IP redirects come in, so how technically it works. So a user comes from Sweden, website understands by IP address, or in easy way, internet, from which country they come. And they know, all right, this person comes from Sweden. And then the site automatically launches in Swedish language and Swedish currency. Not euros, not Great Britain pounds, but Swedish krona, right? And Swedish language is already there because we have to look as local as possible. And if they enter your site and they see English language or euros, you don't look local, you look international. And when you look international, your trust rate goes down very, very fast. All right, let's go further with the payments. Let's start with the Baltics. I believe if you have e-commerce site, probably you heard one of these. Of course, one of the most popular in Baltics are Apple Pay and Google Pay, like everywhere else. But in Baltics, very popular is Banklinks, where you pay with our banks like Swedbank, Citadel, SEB. And there are many payment methods you can use, also for the card payments. But if you have a Shopify store, I think not far a while ago, Shopify finally are offering Shopify payments, which means you don't have to pay commission to the payment provider and also to Shopify. Now you can connect cards directly there. Germany. So Germany is a little bit different. For card payments, usually most common way is Stripe, and for Shopify, Shopify payments. PayPal is also pretty popular there, so you have to have that one. And very important thing for Germany, Klarna is a way to go. And I know a lot of companies sometimes struggle with this part because they're thinking like it's not possible to connect Klarna, there's some rules, but you can do it through Stripe, it's possible. But if you are ambitious about German market, you have to have the Klarna. And also important fact about Germany, because we have few German clients and they also share about feedback, what is important. I believe you see a lot of memes and videos where Germans are very straightforward, they're very analytical, right? And if they enter your site and they have this feeling that this site it's not translated by German, there's some Google Translate going on there, they already see the trust suddenly go down. So I would try to invest a little bit more into translations, like hiring someone who can reread your text, because as you know, Germans very, very interesting and analytical people who want everything straightforward. Next one, Sweden. Sweden also pretty similar to Germany in terms of payment methods. Stripe, Shopify Payments if you use Shopify, and Klarna, right? Usually in Scandinavia, Klarna is a pretty big player besides Germany, so you have to have that one. And interesting fact about Sweden, usually they have very high expectations for for fast and transparent delivery. So if you don't communicate that enough, how the delivery and how fast it works, already in the product page, there could be a problem because not all of the people go to checkout. They already made the decision in the product page. Next one, Norway. So it's pretty tough market, difficult to get in, but very interesting if you are trying to enter into that market. There's one big difference, like in the UK or Germany, they pay with phone numbers. So that's why they use a payment method called VIPS. So how it works, they have a software where their phone number is connected to their card, and when they pay, they write down the number, they receive like an SMS with code, they put down the code, and the money is taken out of the card. So if that is very important to you, the market, you have to have VIPS. And they're very pro-Norway, so they want to support more their local brands. It's very similar to Germany. You have to have those trust signals, same as payment methods, the translations, even the content, but we will talk about content a little bit later. Next one, UK. I know a lot of companies now are a little bit more skeptical about UK because like the shippings and Brexits, but still, it's a pretty big market, one of the biggest in Europe. And for payments, also pretty simple, Stripe, Shopify Payments, PayPal, and they also use Klarna, but they use Klarna more for like financing reasons, as you can see in the screen, like paying 3 installments, pay later 30 days. So that's what Klarna is used in UK. Next one, pretty big player. Everyone wants to be there, USA of course. It also can get a little bit tricky because of logistics and tariffs and everything. But if you get into there, it's like a jackpot, right? For payments, very simple, right? Stripe, Shopify Payments, PayPal, and also interesting fact about America is that their biggest e-commerce player is Amazon, right? So they're pretty spoiled, which means shippings have to be very fast. Like if they see a long shipping, it can like destroy the conversion rate because then Amazon and their logistics system has spoiled them. So if you don't show that there will be fast shipping and you don't display how much time it will take, you can have a pretty big drop in conversion. So we have figured out the payments. Let's talk about content and social proof, because as I mentioned, when you enter new international market, trust is pretty damn important, right? So there are 2 ways we can do right away to increase that trust. One is reviews, but I'm not speaking like just reviews, I'm speaking about locally translated reviews. If you go to Sweden, the reviews are not English, they're Swedish. Either way you translate them, either way, if you don't have possibility to translate them, I don't know, like use friends, relatives, colleagues, but you need to get those reviews there in local language, because if they don't see any like social proof that a lot of different Swedish customers buy the product, it's pretty hard to convert them. And another one is user-generated content. Usually these type of videos are used more for ads, which is great, but we forget that once they clicked on the ad, they come to e-commerce site, and now the site is responsible for closing him, like, so he make the decision that he adds to the cart. And a great way is also, even if you use them for ads, put them also on your product page. You don't have to hire these crazy expensive like influencers. They just have to be like people who speak their language, right? Because once, for example, I use Sweden a lot as an example, if they come to your site, they see the product, they see the price, they see reviews in Swedish, and if they see people speaking their language, I probably don't believe they will think it's an international site. They will think, all right, it's a Swedish site, trust signals going up. So, and it's very important to show them in the product page, because the product page is where they're like making the decision, should I buy it or should I not buy it? Not in the cart and the checkout. There are a little bit different things they think about. Analytics. So, we like to talk about like features and, for example, the payments. Of course, those are the must, but once we launch internationally, we also collect data. And very important is, do we collect the correct data? I'm not speaking about like Google data, metadata, I'm speaking about e-commerce data. And right here is probably one of the most important chart you can have in your e-commerce site, not only internationally, but also locally. It's like a Shopify graph, it's inbuilt, but if you have like WooCommerce or Magento, sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to get those data. But why it's important? Because now we can understand what's going on in the site. The first one, sessions, how many people visited the site? Because there's a lot of situations where companies not happy with their sales, and they're thinking, what could we improve? Should we make the checkout better, the product page better? But once we check the analytics, there's no people coming in. So what's the point? What's the point of making beautiful statue if it's in the middle of the forest? So we have a marketing problem, we have a advertisement problem, there's no eyes to show this e-commerce site. All right, that one we figured out. Let's check another one, add to cart. So probably also very important data, because you can see how much percentage of the people who come to the site make the decision to buy, like they add to the cart. So it's interesting. And this is the place where usually people are directed from the ad. They usually click the ad and they see the product page. Is your product page a good sales machine, or you only have like a picture, like big plain text of description, price, maybe some variation to choose, and 3 reviews, for example. That's not a selling machine. It's like just a landing page with, hey, I have this product, costs this, you can buy, right? And if a customer, there's a lot of times when our clients say, hey, the checkout is not good, we need to think about something like to make it better. But when we see their add to cart ratio is pretty low, there's no point thinking about that. We have to think about the catalog page, product page filter, so how fast they can find the product, how it's easy to understand them. Does our product page sell good enough, show the value? And then the next one, of course, is reach checkout. But it's not about finish checkout, it's about how much people reach checkout. And then we are talking about the process from they add it to the cart and go to the checkout. And sometimes it can be very bad experience. There's a lot of e-commerce sites I've seen when they click on add to cart and nothing is happening. Maybe in the navigation, in the cart icon, small number 1. But it's not very good experience. Usually you click on it, opens like a pop-up or sidecar, hey, finish the purchase, right? So it has to be intuitive. All right, and of course, complete the checkout. And at the end, you can drop a lot of people in the checkout. For example, Americans, when they see shipping is 20 days, very expensive, right? So checkout is, but you don't put a lot of like distractions in the checkout, right? Like more upsells, free add to cart trackers, right? Checkout is the most sensitive place where they're already giving you their data. It's very hard to give all the information in these like 10, 12 minutes. That's why I wanted to give you a gift. It's like 7 years and more than 200 store information in a single file. So make a photo. I believe there's a lot of things when you will check it out, you will, yeah, we have to implement that totally makes sense, right? It's like a little gift for you. But if you're a company who don't like to wait, you're like, yeah, we need to go fast. What we have to do, there's a lot of things we could do or should do, but I need a precise plan. Just because of RigaCom, like you can have only for 1 week, it's possible, completely for free. We will see exactly where you're struggling, because there's a lot of things you think you have a problem with, but you have maybe a lot of things you don't even knew you had a problem. So we will go right exactly each process of your e-commerce site and we'll give you tailored, detailed document, and we will do a meeting where we'll go exactly point by point what are your priorities now, where you should not spend your time, where you should spend your time, and how to be more successful. So if you have more questions, we have a booth right next to the stage. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Guys, girls, any questions to Thomas? How to scale, what to do, how local is local, how global is global? Any hands? We practiced that in the morning. We know how to do that. Okay, I have a question. I was running an entertainment brand in 9 countries in Europe. And my question to you, what is the bare minimum what people should take into consideration when they enter into the new market? What is the bare minimum?
All right, so the bare minimum is not even the features let's talk about, it's speed. Speed of the site, because once you enter the site in the last 20 seconds, we already lost them.
That's a great answer. Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It was super useful. And guys, let's give a hand to Thomas.
Thank you.
Now